knows no boundaries. He doesn't flinch at torture, human trafficking, or genocide. He's not loyal to a flag or a country or any set of ideals.
And well guys, it has been a painful month, but AMD has finally released the 24.9.1 drivers, but I can tell you right away that at least they're worth it, because they're kind of lock and loaded, like today's sponsor, World of Warships, a massive free-to-play multiplayer PC game with 100 million players, and if you download it from the link below, it will be 100,000,001. Conquer the oceans aboard history's most iconic battleships, destroyers, aircraft carriers, and even the newest class, submarines. World of Warships focus on accuracy, which means borderline lifelike ship models and dynamic weather effects that may force you to change tactics and make each battle unique, with each week bringing new missions, game updates and events. This alongside updated graphics that will make your experience even more immersive. If you're a new player, use the invite code BRAVO to get 7 days of premium access and many other bonuses, like 1.5 million credits and a free ship after you complete 15 battles. Download World of Warships now with the link below. And well, that was for the sponsor, but it still is true. The 24.9.1 drivers, they took a lot of time, but at least they bring lots of new things like AFMF2, Anti-Lag 2 improved for Counter-Strike 2 with Vulkan support, and many fixes. But well, let's start from the beginning. As I say in all my videos, 24 is the year 2024, 9 is the month September, even though it is released in October, but yeah, and 1 is the revision in that same month, so the first revision of September. And since I already said what I said, that these drivers bring lots of new things, let's just go into the release notes. Firstly, we start with highlights with new game support for Frostpunk 2, God of War Ragnarök, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, and The Sims 4 DirectX 11 update. Then we go immediately to AMD Fluid Motion Frames 2, AFMF2, a major advancement in frame generation technology for AMD Hypr-RX, lower latency and higher performance. AFMF2 enhanced fast-pacing gaming by significantly reducing frame generation latency and improving performance scaling through new modes. With a fast motion optimization, enjoy smoother gameplay and higher FPS with improved frame generation consistency during fast motion. Improved borderless full-screen support with expanded display mode support for RDNA 3 series graphics products ensures compatibility with virtually all borderless full-screen games. Also with expanded API support, since AFMF2 can now be enabled for OpenGL, which is a new thing, Vulkan, also new, DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 titles. And now we have one of the most interesting things of AFMF2 is that you can now use it with Radeon Chill. Radeon Chill interoperability. AFMF2 now supports Radeon Chill, providing a low latency FPS capping option, with the last one being the optimization for the Ryzen AI 300 series support. AFMF2 is optimized for an extensive list of AMD products, including the AMD Ryzen AI 300 series processors, which are the newer mobile processors that they released, like with this laptop that I have right there, that I'm gonna review soon, but well, because of the fires, the internet, you already know the drill, because yeah, we still don't have home internet, the fiber. Then we have AMD Radeon Anti-Lag 2 Vulkan support for Counter-Strike 2. AMD Radeon Anti-Lag 2 now supports the Vulkan API, offering additional responsive gaming options. AMD Radeon Anti-Lag 2 introduces an in-game option to optimally pace frames, further reducing input lag on AMD RDNA architecture-based graphic products. Users looking for a way to measure frame latency can use our Frame Latency Meter, FLM, or the built-in latency meter in Radeon Anti-Lag 2. And by the way, you have the FML video right here, passing right now on the screen. I tested the software, how it works, how it doesn't work, what are the issues, what are the good things, everything there. So if you want to look it up, just go to that video. And then they show you how to use the anti-lag latency meter. Basically use Alt plus Shift plus L hotkey to enable Radeon Anti-Lag 2 latency monitor. Then you click it again and again and again till you have all the settings shown up. And now we have an even more interesting thing. Geometric downscaling for video. Improved image quality by reducing artifacts during downscaled video playback. Geometric downscaling is supported on Radeon 800M integrated graphics, as well as the AMD Radeon RX 7000 series desktop and mobile discrete graphics cards. I tried several options in the AMD Radeon software and I found nothing about geometric downscaling video. I even tried to use virtual super resolution to see if I could get something out of it, but I guess, once again, this is an improvement for people that use virtual super resolution at a higher resolution. Imagine that you have a 1080p monitor, but your GPU is really strong. So maybe what you can do is go to 4K and then it will downscale to 1080p and it will still look better than native 1080p. That's an option. But since we're talking about video, I believe that's not the case. Since we're talking about video, I don't really know what it is. If you guys know what it is, leave a comment in the comment section, because I tried it several times using it. Downscaling for video, yeah, I'm not seeing it, but I really want to. So once again, leave your comment in the comment section if you really know how it works or what it serves for. And now we have expanded AMD Radeon Boost support for Final Fantasy VI, which Radeon Boost shouldn't, yeah, whatever. Expanded Hypr-Tuned support. Hypr-Tuned support allows Hypr-RX to enable in-game technologies like AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution and AMD Radeon Anti-Lag 2. Support has been added to automatically configure AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3 with frame generation in Black Myth Wukong, Creatures of Ava, Frostpunk 2, and God of War Ragnarök. Support has been added to automatically configure AMD Radeon Anti-Lag 2 in Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. And this means that as soon as you go to the AMD Radeon software and you press that Hypr-RX button, if you have an RX 7000 series, for example, if you press the Hypr-RX button in these particular games, it will automatically, instead of using Radeon Super Resolution, which uses Fidelity FX Super Resolution 1 FSR 1 algorithm, spatial upscaling. What happens is that spatial upscaling is considerably worse than temporal upscaling in most scenarios. And what happens again is that, yeah, as soon as you press that Hypr-RX slider on the AMD Radeon software, it will enable FSR 3.1, frame generation, and so on in these specific games automatically. So instead of using AFMF2 and instead of using RSR, in these particular games, it will use the inbuilt frame generation and the inbuilt upscaling automatically, which is actually pretty decent if it works. We also have expanded Vulkan extension support for several ones like Anti-Lag, Maintenance 7, Pipeline Binary, and Shadow Object that you can see with a link presented there. Mesh nodes in work graphs via Microsoft Agility SDK 1.715.0 preview. Microsoft DirectX 12 work graphs with mesh node support for AMD Radeon RX 7000 series graphics cards. View our accompanying blog post on GPU Open explaining, of course, mesh nodes and so on. But before I forget, just let me tell you about this epic processor model kit that AMD sent me some weeks ago. It is pretty nice as it's made of Lego-like blocks and shows how groundbreaking the chiplet design was and is for AMD and Ryzen CPUs in general. Like the fact that you can just grab a chiplet and just connect it there, exactly like you do with these bricks, and it will just work since it will be connected to the others via Infinity Fabric. And in case you didn't know, all the Ryzen, Threadrippers and Epic CPUs use the same approach. Apart from the APUs, of course, because those use monolithic dies. And like I said, they use the same approach, with even the lowest end Ryzens using one die for the cores and another one for the input/output. Just a little info that I thought you would like. Now back to the topic, fixed issues and improvements. And the first one is intermittent driver timeout or application crash while playing Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, that's fixed, nice. Intermittent driver timeout or application crash during certain cutscenes while playing Final Fantasy VI on some AMD graphics products such as the Radeon RX 6600 XT, and overly dark shadows or desaturated colors may be observed while playing Black Myth Wukong when global illumination is set to medium or higher, and this one was fixed. I actually tried it with the beta drivers and tried it now, and it is definitely fixed. The next one is intermittent in-game corruption may be observed while playing Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut with AMD software Adrenalin Edition record and streaming and HDR enabled. AFMF may become inactive after enabling certain on-screen overlays, also fixed. AMD software Adrenalin Edition may unexpectedly initiate upon system wake from sleep mode, yeah, that was happening with the 24.8.1 drivers, where as soon as you wake from sleep, the AMD Radeon software would just be open, like there, waiting for you. And the last one is the so long awaited audio and video may intermittently become out of sync while recording using the AV1 codec in AMD software Adrenalin Edition. And this one was a bug being here for months and months, and it was supposed to be fixed with the 24.9.2 drivers, but since the 24.9.1 were postponed several times because they were supposed to be released in the beginning of the month, I believe, then they were postponed again and again and again, and the monitor just turned off again and again and again till they went up to, the 1st of October, which doesn't really make sense, but at least the fix that was supposed to be done with the 24.9.2 drivers was done on these drivers. So at least in terms of timings here, they made it work. And now we have more information about AMD AFMF2, which isn't really relevant here. You can just read it. I won't go through it because it is a lot of things and it just basically says the same. And I'll just go to the optimized AFMF2, which is the most important part of all of these. AFMF2 introduces new modes that are automatically tuned for the best experience based on your configuration. These can be manually adjusted for your preferences if needed. AFMF2 adds a new high search mode settings for improved frame consistency during fast motion, enabled by default resolutions of 1440p and above. This reduces the jittering or stuttering encountered with AFMF1 at higher resolutions. AFMF2 adds a new performance mode settings to reduce frame generation overhead, enabled as performance by default for integrated graphics products. Integrated graphics users may switch back to quality performance preset for better frame generation quality during fast motion. And the quality preset is the default when using discrete graphics cards. Users can manually enable this performance mode on discrete graphics cards as well to hit even higher frame rates when GPU bound to maximize the FPS uplift. And of course, users can find these tuning options within the advanced view of Hypr-RX, or of course in the AFMF2 options, because they will be there. You'll have several options, and once again the quality and the search mode and so on. And if you have a discrete GPU, just go for high-end quality, I believe, and the quality will be much better. It will be much smoother than the performance settings, of course. But as always, not everything is cotton candy and unicorn, so we do have the known issues. The first one is intermittent performance, which I don't really know what this means. Maybe intermittent performance issues, some performance drops, I guess, when entering certain areas while playing DayZ. Resolution is targeted for the 24.10.1. Now we just hope that the 24.10.1 won't take another month and a half maybe. And the last one is intermittent driver timeout or crash may be observed while playing Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 on some AMD graphics products such as the AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX 360, which is actually the one that I have, and the laptop doesn't run it that well, so yeah. It isn't an issue if it crashes or not. Users experiencing this issue can enable variable graphics memory in AMD Software Adrenalin Edition as a temporary measure. AMD Software Adrenalin Edition performance tuning variable graphics memory. And yeah, I actually tried the game on the laptop. It doesn't run that well, of course, because it's integrated graphics, but it didn't crash. So yeah, but maybe I didn't play enough time. And just to finalize this part, we have the important notes. AMD is collaborating with developers of Frostpunk 2 to resolve an intermittent issue causing in-game flicker while using AMD Software Adrenalin Edition record and stream. Basically, when you're recording, you might have some flickering, but they're working with the developers of Frostpunk 2 to fix it, which is always nice. AMD is collaborating with the developers of Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 to resolve an intermittent issue causing black flickering around certain water areas. And this is basically it for the release notes, and it was already a lot. And I'm pretty sure that you're tired of the echo and reverb that we have here. But yeah, it is what it is for now. I already bought some rugs and they are coming. I'm gonna treat the sound way better here because I still have PCs left to mount or to set up. I still have another desk to set up, so the echo and reverb will be way smoother by the time that I do that. And I still have, for example, the sofas that I have from Valencia, so again, it will be way better because The biggest part of the echo is still on the other side where I have less things, because this is kind of an open space and there is all flat walls, and that's why we have this echo. But once again, for the things that I found about this driver, the goods and the bads, and I can tell you right away that in terms of bad things, from what I tested in 2 computers, I don't seem to see any bad thing, at least for now. I didn't test for several hours because of, once again, my internet, and I wanted to make sure that the version that I have was the official version, so I waited till the drivers released because I had early access. Those drivers were fine, but I waited till the official drivers got released to make sure that I had that same version to see if there were issues or not, and so far, so good. But we do have some improvements, some very interesting improvements, especially in terms of performance, and I can tell you right away that in both the 6700 XT and the 7900 XTX, we have better performance in God of War Ragnarök and Space Marines 2. Space Marines 2 works much better in terms of performance, or well, let's say considerably better, less stuttering in some areas, and generally higher FPS with the 7900 XTX. And as for God of War Ragnarök, it has way higher FPS in terms of the 6700 XT, and it has also way higher FPS with the 7900 XT, and it fixes the stuttering or the frame pacing issues that we have with the 24.8.1. So the 24.8.1 had lots of frame pacing issues with my XTX, but these new drivers at 24.9.1, they fixed the frame pacing and they increased the FPS by a lot. So better smoothness, way better, and higher average FPS as well, which is a win-win. As for Black Myth Wukong, the Black Shadows issue is definitely fixed on both systems, but the performance is basically the same. So overall, that's it. Better performance in these newer games. Some people are claiming already that they had some stutterings here and there in some games, and they couldn't actually go past the 24.5.1 drivers, otherwise they would be stuttering. At least some of those people commented on my comment section of the previous video that I made about FSR 3.1 in Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, and they told me already that the 24.9.1 drivers fix their issues like the 24.5.1. So, according to my experience and some people's experience so far, it seems that the 24.9.1 drivers are the best drivers so far since the 24.5.1, which is nice, especially for people that just couldn't get off the 24.5.1. And well guys, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, really thank you. Hope to see you in the next one, and by the way, don't forget, in the end, we have the performance comparisons, in this case with the 6700 XT, 6700 XT and the 7900 XTX, comparing the 24.8.1 versus 24.9.1 drivers. And I tested the beta drivers before, just want to let you know that I tested the beta drivers before, and I saw no performance increases whatsoever with Space Marine 2. And now these official drivers do show a performance improvement, so I guess that's interesting, because the beta drivers already had that support for Space Marine 2, even though they didn't increase the performance, but these ones had support officially and increased the performance, which is nice to know. Thank you very much once again for watching, guys, and see you in the next video. And don't forget, leave your comment in the comment section, because that really helps the channel, helps us, and especially helps us, the community, to know what issues we have, and helps AMD as well, because they read the comment section, believe me. They read the comment section of these videos, like my monitor is like and and yeah, they read the comment section, so if you have any issues, make sure to go to the bug report tool on the AMD software and leave them in the comment section as well, because again, AMD reads the comment section. So yeah, thank you very much once again, and see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.
Hold on, brothers.